as long as he wins, ETC can't pass him. Whereas NoHandsGamer and Muzzy, Muzzy's actually locked for Division A, but NoHandsGamer, he wants to try and keep him in low points totals because he wants to have the best chance to make Division A, and that means the most amount of people that are above him falling down. So overall, a good outcome for him.
Yeah, so we'll put a pin on that ETC storyline for now as we head to the elimination match, which, I think Muzzy's kind of playing with house money here. He's in a pretty good spot for Division A, as he has finished pretty firmly ahead of a lot of other people. But it does really come down to NoHandsGamer, as we will have a Highlander Priest mirror. We've seen several of them throughout the day. We anticipated them going into this weekend, as Priest is one of the classes to look out for currently in the metagame. And it's something that we have to kind of look at their deck list side by side and evaluate it. Do you feel like there's an edge in any kind of deck building preparation here, TJ?
I don't think so. It really doesn't feel like it. You can kind of look at their tertiary decks, but I'm pretty sure they even have the similar ones. For some reason, NoHandsGamer's deck lists are not working anymore. So I can't even look. Their primary decks are pretty similar. Muzzy in his tertiary deck, which seems like that it is designed for the Priest Mirror, cuts like Breath of the Infinite, Mind Render, Wretched Tutor, Cobalt Spellkin, and Convincing Infiltrator, and adds Thoughtsteal, Shadow Madness, Vulpire Scoundrel, and then the Headmaster Kel'Thuzad plus Shadow Word Ruin combo. Kind of like an upgraded Soul Mirror where you kill a bunch of big stuff and summon it, but it doesn't die also.
Yeah, the way I evaluate the Priest Mirror is kind of similar to the dynamic that we described versus the Mage, where it feels like you're in this resource/tempo seesaw, and if you lean one way a little bit too heavily, sometimes you can get blown out by the other side of it. We've seen some moments where, Priest is trading resources, and all of a sudden we get to the point where it's Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, and then one player is just taking too much damage, and they have to have the exact right removal, and if not, they end up getting punished really heavily. And sometimes games end pretty quickly, right? Where it can still be a long time in real time. It might be like 20 minutes or so for a game, which is longer than the average Hearthstone match. But Priest could still just win against the other Priests with 15 and 20 cards remaining in their deck. So it is interesting to see how that develops, if players are able to position themselves, who wants to be the playmaker and who just wants to be the one that goes over the top. And then you kind of factor in disruption opportunity, which is what Priest does the best out of some of these classes that we have, as we take a look at the standings and why it's important for NoHandsGamer apparently has to move up from 12th currently at 4 points, trying to move up to that top 8. And again, for people who aren't sure and familiar with it, Division A is the division where it is playoff heavy. 6 out of those 8 spots goes for the playoffs, while the bottom 2 move into the relegation bracket. And then Division B is kind of the inverse of that, although not necessarily the case. They have a lot fewer spots for playoffs and a lot more spots for relegation and fewer chances.
Yeah, and there's all the players in the top 4 that you saw in Division A are locked, and all the players that were in Division B that didn't make a top 8 this week are also locked at Division B. So Briarthorn, Nalgidon, Rami, and one more that for some reason the graphic is eluding my brain right now, will be locked into Division B. So, which means there's a lot of room for movement for No Hands, for ECC, for Killing All Day, for Saiyan, who are currently in Division B, but are on that threshold now with some opportunities to move up, considering a lot of those players that are in Division A towards the bottom didn't make a top 8 this week. So there's a lot of places that you can pass. And I did pull up No Hands deck list, and it does seem like he doesn't really have a good extra value secondary/tertiary deck. His primary deck does pack a little bit more just straight up value than Muzzy's does. but his secondary deck has like Holy Smite, Imprisoned Homunculus, Imprisoned Battlefield, Wild Pyromancer, or Holy Nova, so designed for like anti-aggro. And his tertiary deck has Ooze, Kobold Sticky Finger, Cartoon Defender, Grave Rune for Bomb Warrior. So the off Bomb Warrior, which, you know, just it's a magical beast right now. It doesn't exist. So he will be staying on his primary deck, whereas Muzzy has a tertiary deck that he can swap to that does pack a little bit more value and a little bit more like, okay, I win tempo kind of tools in the deck to come up with a win. But because of that, this one looks like it's going to go to all three. Because on paper, No Hand should win game 1, but then Muzzy should win games 2 and 3. Sometimes it doesn't work out on paper, like in the matchup that they played in the Swiss rounds, which happened towards the end. It worked exactly like that, whereas No Hands won game 1, Muzzy won game 2, but then No Hands won the decider in game 3.
Right.
So we'll see if that repeats itself.
I mean, it's hard to say, right? Because so much of that matchup could have been completely dependent on what's being generated, and we can't just say like, "Oh, this lineup's favored." And that's what makes these matchups, quite daunting, almost to the point where some of the players feel quite intimidated by it. Muzzy was pretty dominant in some of his performances in Grandmasters with Priest, and he was tweeting out, after playing a full weekend of Priest mirrors and Specialist. He's like, I think I'm getting tired of this class. And I think it's just because the mental endurance that is required for you to kind of persist through powering on and playing game after game in these ridiculous, like chess-like mirrors, which are really difficult to kind of navigate through with so much unknown information, is really challenging. So overall, looking forward to see like what we got, because I do anticipate even more Priest mirrors going into tomorrow. Although maybe that could be only trumped by just more Turtle Mage matchups, as Eddie is ready tomorrow with Turtle Mage. Tomorrow is another storyline we can talk about.
It's the exact same group, except instead of Tempo Mage, it's a Turtle Mage. There's one Malagos Druid, 2 Priests, and a Mage. Except the Mage deck is so much worse.
Right.
We could be in for a good time tomorrow.
It should be pretty fun.
Yeah, we'll see about that one. At least it's Specialist, it's best of 3. It'll bring us back to those Bomb Warrior Elysiana mirror matchup days where it would hit turn 8 and the aggressor in the matchup would have been thwarted, and then we knew we had 35 minutes of Dr. Boom hero power pressing before we had any action going on.
All right, well, looks like we are just kind of loaded in here. Looks like we just want to get our practice games and make sure our observers are queued in, tidy up the tavern, if you will, clean up the tables, and organize for our next patrons to walk on through. As right now, No Hands looking to see if we can start off this match to try and improve his chance to go to top 4. And as we said, Muzzy doesn't really need it. And then, of course, after this week, by the way, we're going to go into best of 5 conquest once more. And so a lot of people who are kind of like trying to get used to this best of 3 pacing, it's going to be different. And then we're going to be holding that format for a while, all the way until playoffs and relegation.
Yep.
As we're preparing here for the first game. Definitely, of course, if people want to check out stuff, just take an opportunity to plug the fact that we're going to have the Masters Tour coming up soon while we have a minute. Masters Tour Montreal online is going to be coming up in just a couple of short weeks. So that'll be really fun to see the Grandmasters get a little bit of an opportunity to challenge each other, as well as anyone who might be starting their new Grandmasters quest.
The light shall bring victory.
Potentially join us for the 2021 season.
Yeah, it actually is 2 weeks from today, right? It's the first broadcast day, so time flies when you're casting Grandmasters, I suppose. All right, let's get into it. Game 1, NoHandsGamer versus Muzzy, a Specialist Priest mirror matchup. The ultimate test of endurance.
It really is, and that's actually a skill. If we could try to zoom out here and we start off with a Disciple of Galakrond on 1 for no hands. Muzzy and Sand, something that I think they've prided themselves upon as a X factor for Hearthstone tournaments is that they feel like they have good endurance to be able to keep up their level of play despite playing for long hours. And I think that's actually a really underrated skill in these types of environments, to be able to, one, have the mental to stay on task and avoid tilt as much as you can, but two, to also be able to keep up that level of play and focus throughout the entire day. And as we still see some misplays. It's not like players are playing perfectly and Muzzy's flawless, but I think that's something that's an area that he feels like he is strong in, and I think that it's something to think about as we start entering this Priest Mirror a little bit more deeply soon.
You picked a Ysera.
Yeah.
On turn 2.
Already playing for the fatigue game.
Already playing for the long game. Had the opportunity to go for Twilight Drake, which would have been a great dragon to play on turn 3. But I guess he thought, I already have a turn 3 play with Madame Lazul, and I want some late game value in my back pocket. Oh,
all right. I mean, sees the Galakrond. If he wants to get early, because he could do it a turn earlier, and kind of have that guarantee. Not to mention that sometimes even just having that battle cry might be useful if your opponent has a stacked minion with Apotheosis.
Yeah. So, not many options here. Wretched Tutor actually, if you're ahead, puts you in an awkward position because then you can't play spells unless you're giving up your own tempo. It forces you to kind of maybe sometimes even hinder the way that you play your cards because you're trying not to activate the spell burst in a situation where you wouldn't want to. Because of that, Apotheosis just seems cleaner. Lets you keep tempo on the board. And actually trades over the...
Right. The Vampire Scoundrel. It's interesting because I sort of anticipated the Vampire Scoundrel just having higher value, but I think if he buffed it and traded into the Madame Lazul, he'd be opening himself up to AoE, like Breath of the Infinite or Wretched Tutor on Muzzy's side. Not to mention that Vampire Scoundrel dying also probably makes his Raised Dead slightly more effective. Not that it guarantees him anything, but he has higher value, and a lot of times it's usually thinking about value first and then trying to figure out if you have an opportunity to disrupt that value plan through tempo.
I must consider.
Well, playing Cabal Acolyte is on an empty board seems be very difficult for NoHandsGamer to acknowledge. With a Highlander, though, you don't expect there to be too much follow-up after the fact, especially since if there was a lot of follow-up, Muzzy might have used a coin there, coined out Wave of Apathy, something along those lines. Coin has a lot of value with Galakrond, though, and does have the Cobalt Spellkin with discount to try and pick up. Well, I mean, Wave of Apathy could be a good one.
A simple spell.
Yeah, Wave of Apathy definitely is something to keep a note of as we look at Muzzy's spells. He's kind of annoyed, I think, by the idea that he has to spend his coin here if he wants to not burn a card from his deck, and there are a lot of good cards in his deck he doesn't want to potentially lose for no reason. Talked about how it's a value game. Don't want to lose value for no reason.
Yeah, this one's tough. Coin Penance might honestly be the best play.
I wonder.
Just to kind of protect the Cobalt Spellkin on board. Yeah, you're right. Like, delaying the Galakrond and also wasting the proc from the spell burst of the Cabal Acolyte. Not the best.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that, and Muzzy just figures that he's going to be able to figure out better opportunities to drop Renew. So definitely taking his opportunity just to keep on board, right? NoHandsGamer's ahead, wants to stay ahead, see if he can find ways to provide that incremental value advantage. All right, Muzzy picks up Disciple of Galakrond. He's got a lot of cards that generate other cards right now.
How about another one?
Cards that generate more cards, sure. Psychic Conjurer copies a card in your opponent's deck.
How about another one?
There's still no end. There's still no end in sight, right? Like, he doesn't have a way to still guarantee that he doesn't dump his hand, unless he wants to play his Apotheosis right now.
He knows Galakrond's in the hand, so I think at this point he just wants to assemble value. If he plays something big, it's likely No Hand's going to play Galakrond. I mean, here, No Hands is most likely just going to play Galakrond anyway because he has no threats. He's got the follow-up. He just needs the proactive plays.
I wonder. I am beyond imagination.
Yeah, I guess like this at this point, you don't, because he's far ahead enough. It makes sense to me that he actually wants to go for the Galakrond in this position because he doesn't actually have any more minions to play that's proactive. So you know, if you in the Priest Mirror, if you had the opportunity to hold on to the lead, there's no reason not to try to press it. So I guess we've entered Act 2, TJ. This is the second string of decision trees that will start to form based off what gets generated from Galakrond's wit.
Act 2, Galakrond's Revenge. Act 3 is the second Galakrond's Revenge.
That's right.
As they almost always have a second.
The return of the created by. Followed by Act 4, a new discover.
Wait till the rope and then play Nozdormu.
Oh, interesting. Does he just wants to steal Ahmet right here with the Cabal Shadow Priest?
Okay, yeah. I mean,
Wow. That's tempo options, huh?
yeah, that's a huge tempo option.
Wait, this is actually kind of clever because this doesn't really feel like NoHandsGamer wants to Plague of Death, but yet if he doesn't, he's going to establish enough board tempo to just climb really far ahead on board. And Soul Mirror doesn't really do enough on this board from NoHandGamer's side.
Well, I mean, Soul Mirror and an Ahmed board. He also builds a Ahmed board.
Right, I guess what I'm trying to say is Muzzy would be able to react to that.
Yeah, I guess.
Maybe even Soul Mirror right back. I'm not even sure. I'm just saying that I think this is a good opportunity for Muzzy to get some tempo and maybe put things into motion because he has so many proactive plays and a lot of value generators.
Yeah.
Like from here, there's an argument for Muzzy to dump a few cards now. Maybe have an opportunity to develop Convincing Infiltrator or just drop a Dragon. If he trades, he can renew, then play the Convincing Infiltrator.
Yep. And still just keep up pretty massively with tempo. This is...
Gift of Luminance? Is that ever applicable in... I guess it's really good with Convincing Infiltrator. Plague of Death also just
Another Plague of Death.
Clear. Yeah.
It's such a weird matchup because you want insane value, but you also want like insane removal. Because when you get to later stages, you want to answer threats, then play a threat, then answer threats, then play a threat, and then hope that you just come out on top in that sequence of answering and playing threats.
Alright, well, I mean, the best way that No Hands can get value off of this card is just to target that Convincing Infiltrator and then most likely go for some removal.
Yeah, not bad, but No Hands is, having to forego pressing the Galakrond hero power in order to kind of react to the board. Muzzy's not doing it either, but like it seems like he's using his resource more efficiently. I mean, obviously he has a larger hand, mostly due to the turn where he knew that Galakrond was in the hand, so he didn't want to play any minions. But
yeah, I guess I'm thinking about what Muzzy really wants to do to develop. And it looks like he's just going to go for the Nozdormu, just kind of pick up the pace of play here. No Hands, of course, can immediately react based off destroying it with the Shadow Word Ruin.
A simple spell.
Wow! Finds Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. He's also, by the way, okay with increasing the pace. I mean, I don't mind Priest Mirrors featuring Nozdormu, making every turn 15 seconds. Now that sounds exciting.
oh geez, another Mind Flayer? Zolmir?
Another Mind Flayer. Neither player really making moves to make Nozdormu down. Gotta go a little bit quickly here.
He's also got a full hand, so he wants to dump the Breath of the Infinite. I might have dumped the Wave of Apathy there. I don't know.
I think so too. Wow, TJ, if anything, looks like the pace of play might be disrupting certain players here.
Does he want to just Plague of Death this?
Oh no! Okay, he's gonna kill the Nozdormu to slow it down. Okay, I'm convinced. For years, TJ, there's been players say like, I want a Nozdormu game mode where I could kind of like pick up the pace and make people play and kind of see what happens if people have to keep in mind animation length.
Life and hope.
I might have been sold there.
Oh, I mean, decent as far as options go, but the Plague Protodrake is actually pretty annoying to deal with. And Aeon Reaver, especially at 1 mana, is a really great way to try and gain back some tempo. Ooh.
I mean, it's a lot of stats right now he's going to answer, but I mean, Muzzy has it. Has a lot of responses. In fact, his hand is like pairs of removal.
Jeez. He's got 60 mana
Pair
worth
gamer.
of cards in his hand. 60 mana. Some decks' total mana cost is 60.
That's a really good point.
Oh, Winged Guardian! That's a much better outcome.
Oh, yeah. Huge. I wonder if No Hands will be tempted to pull trigger on some of his bigger removal, or if he does the same thing right back with Murzon, which will play Soul Mirror, and then give him Convincing Infiltrator and Winged Guardian right back.
Yeah.
You think this is your time? It is mine.
And then he can actually bump into the Convincing Infiltrator and kind of take that preemptive trade, react to what ends up happening. Maybe even play Aeon Reaver, squeeze it in. It might be a little bit too aggressive. He also could play the Wave of Apathy right now and just kind of take a free trade on the Winged Guardian. I don't think I like that nearly as much.
Yeah.
Okay. Lightwell to maybe absorb the Death Rattle from the Convincing Infiltrator.
Job done.
I honestly kind of liked playing, hitting the hero power, because he has one minion in his hand, and that's an Aeon Reaver. So let's say he does gain the board, then what? I feel like he needs to start getting value out of some of this stuff.
What if?
Yeah, Shadow Word Death. Good to start things off, just to eliminate the Murzon here, but I'm really feeling like Muzzy needs a little bit better high impact minions here, despite them being really good. Okay, Cabal, Acolyte, and the Galakron. Or sorry, Disciple of Galakron.
Be born again.
Brittle Bone Destroyer. His health hasn't changed this turn though.
No.
Brittle Bone Destroyer gets a lot worse when you don't have the ability to heal yourself.
Not the most
Awful
valuable
trades
turn
here
there.
for Muzzy. Like this is not what he wants at all. Oh jeez.
Another one. So does
I mean,
have
it's gotta
space
feel
for it?
tempting in this position.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't really have anything
kind of-
else to do unless he wants to press the hero power.
Well, I mean, he could hear power than Aeon Reaver and kind of develop there, but I think this is like one of the cleaner Dragon Queens that you can get right now. Zeraku and Evasive Draconid. Yeah, I definitely like the Aeon Reaver here for tempo and just try to establish the best board presence here. No hands. By attacking the face, actually may open up a possibility where Muzzy can heal himself and then use the Brittle Bone Destroyer, but he doesn't pick up any card that can do that.
Ah.
What if?
He has so many answers, but it just feels like all of those answers want to be saved for something a little bit more threatening than this. Even though this is threatening in its own right, you know there's two one-mana dragons on the other side of NoHandsGamer's hand.
Right.
If you commit to a Plague of Death here, he just reloads with those, and then you have to commit to another one next turn. But then if you don't commit to a decent-sized removal, then NoHandsGamer has no reason to even develop further onto the board, as long as he can stay ahead. So it's kind of a middle ground. I do like this. I guess the Wave of Apathy in hand, he does have a Cabal Acolyte, so once he does Plague of Death, if NoHandsGamer were to reload with one big minion, he would be able to steal it. A lot of good stuff has died.
I mean, a ton of things have died. 2 Dragon Queen Alexstrasza's have died.
2 Winged
A bunch
Guardians.
of other like high value, yeah, Wing Guardian, his high dragon value stuff. It's kind of hard in these kinds of moments to start thinking about like what really is the value to long plan, because they both still have 12 cards remaining in their decks. Go for Mind Control.
Ooh.
It's actually gonna burn a card.
Burn a card, yeah.
I guess Mind Control is one of the harder cards to use, and he felt like he replaced this card anyways.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder about that. It's interesting.
Well, he's going to burn a card, but he's replacing a card in his deck with a random dragon, which could be better in a lot of situations.
I mean, does he even feel safe enough to play any dragon that isn't just destroying stuff? Like he could create his Netherwing, and then play the Brittle Bone Destroyer.
Yeah.
I
That's actually
think that's
pretty
the
good.
only play that I see.
Yeah.
They break so easily.
See what the burn is? Oh, no! Wait, no! That's way better than a random dragon. I want that! I'd rather have that.
Yeah. That was 1 in 12. So about an 8% of the time. That's brutal.
I've suffered long enough. It's your turn now.
Oh,
Wait, what?
those are good.
This gets more high value dragons, another Murzond.
Those are good.
Another mind control. At this point, I don't think NoHandsGamer will be missing the value off of Zephyrus. He just has. If he picks his mind control, he'll have 10 plus 16. I guess he just plays this. So he's got 18, 19, 20, 28, 29, 38, 42 mana worth of cards in his hand. But he's doing a good job at least pressuring. This is 18 damage. And Muzzy would have to use Plague of Death to deal with it, and that still puts him back on the defensive end. We're starting to get to the point where, like, the amount of pressure being presented on board might just be game ending if the other player does not have an answer to it.
Yeah.
Or if they're playing a little too loose and they just end up realizing that they're dead if their opponent has any extra damage from hand.
And both players have so much removal.
What if?
I think this might be Plague of Death. Yeah.
I mean, he has 2 of them. I like that he's not using the one that is known. Basic Draconid is pretty good, and he can hero power. I think I'd be tempted to also play Cobalt Spellkin. Looks like he just ends up going for a first to see what cards he gets.
Inner Fire.
So the hard thing about this is that, again, it's kind of like what you're talking about. NoHandsGamer really isn't pushing the button very often. And to be fair, it's a matchup where sometimes, a lot of scenarios you don't really do so.
I mean, Mass Resurrection, he's had a lot of good stuff die.
Yeah.
Same case for Raised Dead.
Interesting. Dumping the Breath of the Infinite, dealing 0 damage.
It's honestly, it's quite a dead card. Now both players can kind of play the ping pong one of these minions back and forth. If Muzzy wants to go like Cabal Acolyte into Wave of Apathy, then No Hands gets to Wave of Apathy, Cabal Shadow Priest it back.
Right, but he's behind in that. Usually if you're the person that's behind in development, you're just going to take damage every turn, so I don't think that's a viable line for Muzzy.
Yeah, it is 10 damage on board, so he could try and go for like a value play, but then he could get punished by the exact play that, you know, I just mentioned. If he just plays one big minion, if he played just Ysera here, a Wave of Apathy or Lazul scheme with the Cabal Shadow Priest would be essentially a blowout. He'd have to use his other Plague of Death. Gonna see what his 1-mana dragons are. Oh, Waxadread and the Skeletal Dragon.
I mean, Wax Dread helps you go to Fatigue.
Oh, Muzzy's gonna burn a card too. Alright.
Yeah, he already has some of his highest impact battle cries already gone, though, as no Storm comes into the hand.
Oh.
I say we do it again. I think this might be a good opportunity for mind control, to be quite honest. Or if you just wave a... Oh, wait. What if you wave of Apathy, Cabal Shadow Priest?
What about?
Then Inner Fire, push damage.
Yeah. Because then the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza is only 1 attack.
Right. and then your opponent tries to react to their board, they probably have to throw out like Soul Mirror or something else, and if they don't, you have lethal. If they do, then you can develop right back. I guess the problem is he doesn't actually have development. So he would have to hero power, but with the Wave of Apathy, Cabal, Shadow Priest line, you actually do get the ability to hero power because you will be dumping 2 cards.
Yeah. And his development would be the dragon that he picks up from the Skeleton Dragon. That's,
Right.
that's his development that he would hope for. So,
Let me change your mind.
yep, hero power, and okay, gonna go with the inner fire on the Skeleton
that's
Dragon.
Big Skeletal Dragon goes 9/9.
I have too many cards.
I like this a lot. Nazari! Also, losing the Cabal Shadow Priest there, kind of annoying for Muzzy.
Yeah, because he had the Wave of Apathy in hand as well.
Okay. Can we do anything with this Soul Mirror? Maybe.
I mean, yes, he can cast it and kill the Cabal Shadow Priest. But, I mean, is that enough? You could play Waxadread and, like, Imprison Vilefiend alongside of it. Or Wand. Wand Maker. Wand Seller.
You don't pick the water, see?
That's right. It's not a wand seller. They do it for the passion, TJ. They love it.
Yeah. Making them is the priority, not selling them. It's actually a full clear with the Holy Smite picked up.
Yeah, I think I'm like in a weird scenario where like Muzzy maybe doesn't want to play Waxadread because Waxadread could get stolen. Or yeah, because then you just be giving up the mind control.
Yeah, but then when are you gonna play it? Because you gotta play it at some point.
Okay, well, Murazan summons the same cards right back. Then he Holy Smites. That's not exactly what he wants.
Yeah, he could do it in the other order. Could just mass resurrect.
Yeah, kind of funny that Breath of the Infinite would actually be really convenient here.
Yeah, actually.
All right,
would.
Murazan clears. And I guess that's it. He doesn't want a hero power, right? Unless he's okay with just random minion burning it.
You don't pick the waters.
I mean, this is starting to get scary for Muzzy because of
Yeah.
his life total.
Yeah, he has to react to everything. Whereas NoHandsGamer has a little bit of wiggle room to leave a board up for a turn to try and get greedier with his removal.
What if?
So, oh man, because even the Cabal Acolyte Wave of Apathy, the Wand Maker's making that a little bit awkward. Okay. Oh no.
The freshman.
That's not what you want to see.
Your mind is not
No,
your
it's not really super good. Muzzy can try and go for the steal on the Murazan.
dance, puppet. Dance.
Doesn't get it.
Time is running out.
And it seems like right now Muzzy is starting to get a little outmuscled by this late game value from No Hands.
Yeah. This one's gonna be tough. I don't know, like, as weird as it is, that Ysera, I feel like you never have time to play Ysera in this matchup, and even when you do, you don't want to because it'll just get stolen. I don't want to go back to a decision that was made 25 minutes ago, but you could have had a Twilight Drake for the rest of the game.
Right. I mean, that Ysera also could have generated like so much value. Would have been insane. Wow. Speaking
Woo!
of, high value resurrects.
I mean, what's crazy is that those aren't even the highest value resurrects he could have gotten. He had 2 of the proto drakes. He had a Murzon, even more skeletal dragons.
Well, now with the Skeletal Dragon and filling up NoHandsGamer, his entire hand would be full once more, so he has to dump a card if he wants to draw from his deck. Another Nozdormu. Is there any play action here, or sorry, playmaking ability for Muzzy with the Kronks? Otherwise, this might look like another Plague of Death situation here for Muzzy.
Yeah. Plague of Death and try and get ahead, yeah. Oh, damn, we hit a new record.
What's
65 mana in NoHandsGamer hands now. NoHandsGamer's hand. Who knows what to plural in that sentence? That didn't even increase it much. That only brought it up to 66.
Oh, no.
Bummer. Still, though,
I think if I'm no hands, I'm really
record.
tempted to rip this mind control in this position.
Yeah, I mean, what's the downside?
Downside is it's not actually threatening a lethal when I think he can. No, I don't think he actually can. I mean, what can you do?
Everything I do gets stolen.
Right, welcome to Priest.
Yeah. That is a 2 invoked Galakrond?
Yes.
I think. Actually, not entirely sure.
What if?
I wonder if this is the time to drop Ysera. Your opponent's already shown like mind control and a bunch of other things. Okay, looks like Muzzy instead wants to go for the renew. Raise dead. Oh boy, TJ. Hope you're mass resurrection. Talk about the dead.
I have no idea what's died from Muzzy.
A lot of things.
A Zephyrus
Maybe
has died.
even the Zephyrus.
Yeah.
Time is running out.
Oh, Brutal
Okay.
Born Destroyer and Madame Lazul. That's actually a pretty good combo.
Right, good tempo.
Yeah.
Very solid onto the board. Gets to see what his opponent's holding. Maybe play around that a little bit. Finds a Soul Mirror. Sees the Broomstick and the Nozdormu. Oh, jeez. Oh, wow. The same thing can happen right back.
Murzon number 3 of the game, perhaps.
Sure.
Not number 3 total, number 3 for no hands.
This is your time. It is mine.
It's not like the highest value Murzon. He's gonna fill up his hand with resources, just play a bunch of minions. And not actually deal with the board. Wait a second.
Oh, he has animated Broomstick.
Ah, yeah, animated broomstick. That's right. He could even full tempo and go for a wave of apathy if he wants to like value trade over these.
I think you don't have to, because you can pick up value trades anyways. Actually, nah, it's not worth to preserve like a 3-1, right? Like, it's not.
And threatening lethal.
Yeah, it does seem like No Hands is like kind of slowly descending for the kill. But like,
Slowly
you know, he has a
swooping down.
cane and he's using the supported beams on the side of the rails.
He pulled his parachute a bit too early. So he's just kind of
right.
floating down.
Right, it's a game of Warzone. He decided to pull immediately.
Yeah.
And his teammates were diving the entire time.
He's ready for an early skirmish, but can't quite get there.
Man Lazul
Future is clear.
actually has a lot of really good
There's so much value.
discovers.
I mean, he does. I guess Mass Resurrection because he now Stormwheel. He's already got one of those. Skeletal Dragon. I guess he could play this turn. Then he burn a card again.
Imagine just playing so many skeletal dragons and burning every card. Just playing random dragons.
Time is running out.
Trying to make the health awkward, I guess. Not a bad Soul Mirror.
Right. I think at this point, NoHandsGamer is really pressing in for the potential win.
Yeah.
And Muzzy might just be out of reliable ways to deal with it. He might just Galakrond Hero Power here. Or, sorry, Hero Power, then Galakrond. I think he's debating what he wants to trade into with the Crocs. I think he wants to deny value of the Sethek Veilweaver, but leaving up such high attack minions sounds like it's an opportunity for NoHandsGamer to maybe deal even more damage.
Well, all right. Oh, okay.
Wax, give me life.
So NoHandsGamer actually not really ahead in fatigue. It maybe like one draw because the Wax of Dread doesn't count as like an extra card because it'll just summon and you'll still draw a card for that turn. But I mean, when you're this far ahead in Temple, you have 22 life and you can just cast Mass Resurrection in the mirror matchup. You're feeling pretty good. Wow!
Keeps finding skeletal dragons. This might be that final push.
What about?
He can clear off the Skeletal Dragon if he Soul Mirrors himself. He leaves 4-1 a 3-2 on board. He's got a 4-5 taunt. He's not dead. He even has the Culturon Chaplain.
Yeah, that keeps the dragon hoof alive if he wants to. He can go for a nice trade.
I'm just struggling.
And
he doesn't have a definitive like swing left. And No Hands still has layered threats in order to keep like finding a way to push lethal each and every turn. The Burzon could be a big deal, and like a desperation Mass Resurrection could bail him out of some situations.
Count your blessings, mate.
Okay, he's trying to protect this against the
Soul Mirror?
no or the
Oh,
break?
the Chrono Breaker, yeah.
The Chrono Breaker, yeah.
Because he wants a Chrono Breaker of his to die. Because this Chrono Breaker will activate his they'll activate each other.
Yes. So that he sticks a minion at the end of it all.
Your feeble magic amuses me.
This game going a little bit quick here, trying to present it, but Evasive Draken is hard to deal with for the Priest.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay. That's actually really big, because now Muzzy can play Murzond.
Or Mass Resurrection.
Actually, that's dangerous, because Murzond can only target himself and then rush it. Wow, actually, that's not as great as I thought it would be.
Mass Resurrection.
A lot worse since he has Battle Cries.
Yeah. But Muzzy has taken the board. For the first time in I don't know, 20 turns, and just like that, it's gone.
I'm thinking about if there's an opportunity to use this Crocs as potentially lethal here. Like, maybe if I'm no hands, I just want to Mass Resurrect and then Wave of Apathy. And then if I stick a board, I just Crocs for lethal.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
I feel like that might be the best opportunity, while also, but the thing is, yeah, like he's losing out on value and card and things of that sort, so maybe that's just too aggressive.
Well, Muzz had a very low life total. He's about to start going into fatigue. Mind Rend, the last card. I don't even want to start thinking about that.
Whew.
I'll think about it when
Actually,
it's played.
That is kind of really important for him to think about, because he knows Kronks is in the hand now, guaranteed next turn, right?
Yeah, and Mind Render, the one thing that it does do is, I mean, with both players having Mind Render, it's a moot point, but it does, like, one player draws a card. So you can play with Fatigue if you have a Mind Render, and
right. The fatigue difference might be relevant, but like the idea is that oh no, because it's Waxed Red, right? Right. Okay, so Shadowward Ruin does end up destroying all minion, sorry, the 8/8, but it also destroys his own Waxed Dread, so that's definitely something that's not as appealing.
he could always just Wave of Apathy and Cabal Shadow Priest.
Yeah, or
if he really wants to get rid of it.
I feel like I'm super tempted to try and close this game, but I guess like NoHandsGamer can take the higher percentage line by just waiting for Muzzy to do stuff, because Muzzy's life total is so far behind by 12 hit points.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like there's like a massive reason for him to try and find a way to close things out, because he knows that he is just going to win.
I think that should
things just stay
here.
the same.
Yeah, there's just too much value on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, he could hope that there's like a... Well, nah, he can't even hope that there's a Soul Mirror on the other hand.
Maybe.
Share your thoughts with the class now.
Well, he can, but he's still dead. Oh, Kronks actually.
Right. Kronks, he can dump the Kronks, which is kind of important here. Can also Shadowward Ruin. No, it doesn't really help enough.
About Cabal Acolyte out. Well, no, because then he leaves the Kronks in hand.
Right. Kronks is kind of an important health swing, but there's 12 damage come the other way, so if he uses Kronks, he goes up to 14, and he takes 2 fatigue damage. I think he has to play Kronks and summon an 8/8.
He knows there's a time rip in his own hand, though.
Oh, right. Okay, just clear the board then.
Yeah.
I am out of cards.
Oh.
And I mean, doesn't he just hit the opponent and then he's dead? That is it. So NoHandsGamer wins the marathon game number 1. Almost 1 hour of gameplay here, as No Hands will be on match point. Woo. But TJ, there's also secondary and tertiary decks available for these players now.
There are. I said in the beginning, I think that Muzzy does have an advantage with his switch to tertiary, because he has a little bit more value packed in there, whereas No Hands just stays on his primary. So usually, if one player switches and the other player doesn't, they have a little bit more of an advantage because it means that they weren't expecting that with their primary deck, and they were expecting it with their secondary. So, Muzzy, you can see that tertiary deck down below as the Shadowward Ruin Headmaster Kel'Thuzad combo is kind of the big one. Tiamat's in all three of his lists, but Valpyr Scoundrel, Shadow Madness, and Thought Steal are the other three cards that have been added, and he took out Breath of the Infinite, which is pretty dead, Mind Render, which is awkward to use in the mirror, Wretched Tutor, again, not great, Cobalt Spellkin, and Convincing Infiltrator. So he basically just took out a bunch of the situational, tough-to-use cards and put in just straight value. So that gives him flexibility with his other value generators to pick things that aren't as greedy, because he knows that in the super late game, he just has more cards that generate value than NoHandsGamer. Because I think NoHandsGamer is going to stick with, yep, and we did get confirmation, NoHandsGamer on primary, Muzzy on the tertiary. Game 2 of the Priest Mirror, let's get it.
All right, so Muzzy with the full mulligan pretty quick. No hands, kind of thinking about what he really wants to be able to prioritize in that early game, and I think ultimately it just came down to the value that No Hands was able to have, and neither player was able to really seize tempo in the way that I think they were hoping for. But the early game damage from No Hands did add up over time, which is what you start to see. It's really about the incremental value in this matchup.
Much less proactive hands from both players here. Ooh, Crimson Hothead actually can be pretty threatening. And does choose it, so has that on 3 as proactive play. There's the Thought Steal. Murazond. And Shadowward Ruin picked up.
Yeah, interesting that he's just kind of playing the Septic Veil Weaver, but as we've seen many times... Oh my, actually. I thought he was going to wait for this. Interesting. Kind of an aggressive use. Oh.
What?
What?
Picks Plague of Death, gets Plague of Death? Alright, so No Hands is set on removal for about the rest of the game. He has Soul Mirror and double Plague of Death.
Wait. What if Muzzy's able to guess the Plague of Death? He's not going to think about Crimson Hothead, right? He's going to pick the Cabal Acolyte?
The Cabal Acolyte and Cobalt Spellkin are the two most likely to be in the hand.
Wait, no. The idea is that Crimson Hothead is the least likely, and therefore it's kind of the unusual card. Is it not?
Yeah, but which one do you want the most? Oh!
Nice, good guess. It doesn't fit. No one wants to actually put that card in their Priest Highlander deck at the moment.
Yeah.
Because there's other things, and I think by using deduction there, you kind of figured out that it would be the Crimson Hothead, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like one of those standardized testing questions where maybe not necessarily trying to test your knowledge, but more of your deduction skills.
Yeah. Well, even if you just narrow it down to what No Hands did last turn, he had played a Draconic Studies and used Coin. If he used Coin, he probably doesn't have Cabal Acolyte. And if he used Coin going into the turn where he would have played a discounted Cabal Cobalt Scalebane, then same thing. He wouldn't use the coin for either of those, so.
I like it.
I must consider.
Alright, so Raised Dead doesn't get full value here, right? It's only been a Septic Veilweaver that's died from his side of the board.
Grade's getting low.
I think so, yeah.
But that would be.
But that doesn't stop him from trying to fight for tempo because he can go ahead and kill off the Hothead.
Yep.
Alright, Mind Flayer. Comes to the hand. Muzzy could end up killing it with a Rusher if he so desires, but also could just simply go for a Time Rip and try to see what that generates for the following turn. Right now, it's a little awkward.
Broomstick feels too valuable to just use it now to trade in, especially since you're still at 30 health. You have a lot of removal in hand, you're not really going to fall behind on tempo. I do like the Mind Flayer, but the Broomstick is, I think, the big question mark. It's also not like a good place to trade it into. Like if you Broomstick and trade it into the other Hothead, then you don't kill the Wretched Tutor. Trade Sethic, Forbidden Words. Looks like a good play to me.
Looks very solid. Overall use of efficiency and mana, and also get a card at the end.
Ooh. Ooh.
Yeah, I can't find too many reasons to not use it in this position. And I think that you really want to stop. I guess the reason be like, if your opponent has a way to steal it with Cabal Shadow Priest. But it looks like Muzzy's going to go ahead and shut it down. And I think No Hands is pretty happy with that. Given that you get to extract a card that can destroy any minion. At least the front half of any minion.
Yeah. Muzzy does have the 2 invoked Galakrond now. So, has this checked from No Hands. And No Hands is lacking on proactive plays. Also, Muzzy getting Galakrond out before Murzon is available from No Hands, and before Mind Render can maybe rip it is a nice little benefit, because now No Hands is developing his only Mind Render. Everything else... Okay, Madame Lazul, that's something to be able to play proactively.
Yeah, Madame Lazul can actually help him find a way to answer the other threats.
Oh!
Ouch.
What?
I don't think he needs a third Plague of Death.
No. He has Soul Mirror
Dragon
and 2
Queen.
Plague of Deaths.
Dragon Queen is the best card, but it also isn't playable next turn. And as we saw, Murzon is just great at collecting value.
Oh. Did go for the Dragon Queen.
Oh, Cabal Shadow Priest comes just a little bit late. Such a weak turn from NoHandsGamer. Probably has Muzzy thinking about what's happening next.
It's a brand new
Finds another Wretched Reclaimer. I mean, sure.
Oh, look at that combo.
brand new you.
And it comes back with full health.
Yeah, it's primarily used just for death rattle minions, but Muzzy doesn't have such luxury, and I think he's going to be going for hand space so that way he can play Dragon Queen next turn.
I must consider.
Psychic Split's actually not bad. You could Psychic Split his Madame Lazul and take a value trade. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great either. Just kind of...
So this is something that, like, a position where it does strongly favor Muzzy because he was able to get his Galakrond up earlier, which means that he will naturally start to win the resource war. And I'm finding a hard reason to not play Dragon Queen Alexstrasza in this position.
You can also play Murzon and has the upside of like a 50-50 to hit his own with the Psyche Split.
Interesting.
But that's a little risky. You hit your opponents, that Murzon is quite weak. now...
I guess Muzzy wanted to play his Dragon Queen Alexstrasza on a turn that he could play his dragon immediately.
Yeah. That is a good point, because while Muzzy is not playing the Mind Render in his tertiary deck, NoHandsGamer is still playing his primary deck, which means he does have the Mind Render. So if you just play a Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, your opponent can Mind Render and get both of those 1-mana dragons.
I liked up in the hand space just to make room.
Yep. Now very similar looking hands for both players. There's a Plague of Death, a Soul Mirror, a Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, and a Broomstick on both sides.
Yes.
Which is a recipe for an explosive couple of turns.
Hmm.
Players summoning massive dragons and then rushing them into each other. But, I mean, this is... You can't guarantee another isolated minion after this point. So you might as well just take it.
Dance, puppet, dance.
Does seem like this is actually starting to turn into meaningful tempo development for NoHandsGamer, because it's just hard for Muzzy to navigate through it. Although he does have Cabal Shadow Priest still ready to go.
Just take it back.
Just take it back. This is Rush Week. Freshmen don't know which side to take.
What does he do with the rest of his mana? Doesn't seem like a great place for Zephyrus. Not enough value. Oh,
Cleric of Scales.
Okay,
But doesn't that increase his fatigue?
it does. Yes.
That's right. It actually puts him one card deeper into his deck, because I believe the Cleric of Scales pulls it. It doesn't actually discover a
Let
copy.
me change your mind.
That's right. Muzzy, with 17 cards remaining, is playing for fatigue right now.
And he's got the value advantage in the long game. So as long as he just doesn't fall far behind in fatigue or on tempo, he's good. Those are the keys. Don't draw cards, but don't fall behind on tempo.
Life and hope.
Everything else will come naturally to the deck. Nidhogg and Cobalt. Cobalt Spellkin.
Okay, so mid-sized dragons that have some pretty upside, or pretty high upside in terms of value that they can generate. And now Muzzy kind of reaching max capacity to his hand size. Looks like he picks up Headmaster Kael Tazad.
He's got the
Spell
combo,
Burst.
man. The combo.
Headmaster
plus Shadow Word Ruin
Shadow
combo.
Word Ruin.
It's not great here, but
On wings of
oh,
destruction.
really? Okay.
Come.
Those are all high value in their own way.
Right. Shadow Madness deals with the Cabal Acolyte right now.
Muzzy is playing this incredibly slowly.
Time is running out.
I mean, he believes his deck has the higher value, right?
Yeah, but still, like you don't want to keep playing reactively the whole game. Then you never get a chance to use the value.
Yeah. But how else are we going to successfully connect to the Apex stream tomorrow?
No, Dan, that's a great point. Wait, why wouldn't he go with Big Game Hunter there?
Right. I guess he wants the extra 2 damage on the Cabal Acolyte.
Over a 4?
Or he doesn't want minions. He doesn't want minions to get swept up by AoE, or does he just doesn't want to dilute his Raised Dead pool. Wait, no, he didn't pick Raised Dead.
He still has a Raised Dead in there, though.
Thought Steal. The very card that Muzzy put in to get additional value.
A simple spell.
Well, he also put in his own Volpira. Oh my gosh.
Whoa. He's just dumping cards that he doesn't need anymore.
Another Dragon Queen. No.
TJ. If he gets another one, I'm out. I can't handle this.
In two games of Priest so far, NoHandsGamer has played 3 Murazons, and he's played 3 Dragon Queen Alexstraszas. That would be his 4th. Didn't get another one, but a 7-mana Dragon Queen Alexstrasza with the bank mana from the Draconic Studies is going to do some work.
There's just so many.
You think this is your time? It is mine.
Wait, he doesn't even have hand space for all these.
I guess not, but I mean, it's the tempo that's created from that. What?
Oh, it's
What
another
is
track.
this?
Okay. And Muzzy's is even
What
cheaper.
is
It's 6
this?
mana.
I don't even understand.
Oh, jeez.
Did we unlock the Tavern Brawl game mode top 3 this week? Where your deck is just the same copies of the 3 cards you put in. I guess it wouldn't be, because that means Dragon Queen Alexstrasza's battle cry wouldn't be active.
Yeah. It's even better than that Tavern Brawl, Dan.
It's a 6-mana Dragon Queen Alexstrasza.
He's got 2 6-mana Dragon Queen Alexstraszas. Well, one is 6 mana, the next one's 9 mana, but, you know, still. And the funny thing is Muzzy has, like, the answer to No Hands doing that exact same thing. Assuming he gets, like, multiple 5+ attack minions. Because he has the Headmaster plus Headmaster Kel'Thuzad plus Shadow Word. So.
I remember when a lot of times the way you would tech value against Priest was play Cairn Bloodhoof.
Not anymore, Dan. Not anymore.
It's a different time, of course. Hearthstone has since evolved and mechanics have gotten much deeper. The game has gotten quite possibly infinitely more complex. If you kind of factor in all these different kinds of ranges of possibilities, it is wild to me to think about what could be coming here.
What about?
The Nidhogg's actually kind of annoying because you can't deal with the eggs.
Light
All right.
Picks up like a twin tyrant.
I mean, it doesn't matter if he just gets big tempo from these dragons. Okay. Finds the Twilight Drake, which is pretty strong, right? It's a 4/10. The
Yeah.
Cobalt Spellkin means that he only gets 1 spell. He plays it right now. Mind Vision, and you know what he's gonna rip?
Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. I know this might be No Hands Dragon Queen Alexstrasza's turn. He gets the Rusher, so he gets to take out the Dragon
Doesn't have
Queen.
hand space.
Yeah, no hand space for Dragon Queen. That's true. Twin Tyrant can also might be able to help clear things up. He can time rip and elevate with Fear Scout.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's really much for him to be able to do in terms of,
Yeah, he's just gonna stick a board, I guess.
yeah, developing. I think he just has to remove and remove. Oof. Repair Scoundrel. Okay, Muzz is gonna pick like... Actually, I don't know. This might be a mystery choice, to be quite honest. This all stinks.
Lackey could be interesting to try and dump something from his hand this turn.
Oh, you know what Lackey can do? He can get a Draconic Lackey and discover a dragon. That can get Dragon Queen Alexstrasza.
Yeah.
Oh Oh my gosh, he just finds the other 9 mana card, Plague of Death.
There are 5 Plague of Deaths on the screen right now.
Oh my
You
god.
don't pick the water, see?
Can we get
A lot
Turtle
of
Mage
sand.
back?
It's a lot of sand, PJ.
Yeah.
It's so dry. So coarse. And it gets everywhere.
He has been playing this a little slow though.
I am
Nohands
very
kind of
sure.
just like develops his biggest stuff, and whenever he can. Whereas Muzzy, even when he has a chance to develop his biggest stuff, he doesn't. Horizon here could give him 410.
You think this is your time? It is mine.
I guess so.
Water, silly.
It's equally sturdy board, and I think one thing that Muzzy has this game that he didn't have in the previous was well, one, he's has Galakron value, which you can see No Hands is doing a great job actually kind of staying in there, extracting value despite not having the ability to generate random priest minion.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is Muzzy can take a little bit more hits to try and get board position, but I mean, at this pacing, though, it doesn't seem like Muzzy's threatening enough.
Yeah.
And No Hands
my
does
thoughts.
have the Plague of Death.
This choice, I think, Lazul scheme, just because it opens up Cabal Shadow Priest opportunity soon. He's got 2 of them in his hand.
For
Probably even gets rid of one now. Just take the 2/2, trade over the Murzond, and try and leave the board as is. But
Yeah, it makes sense. And then you can even play the Disciple of Galakron or the Holy Smite if you want to trade.
Push the 4.
Okay, so Muzzy finds the Cabal Acolyte. I'm just trying to wrap my head around what he can do. I'm still kind of keeping an eye out, low-key, for the Headmaster Kael'thas, but just hasn't had the impact I kind of thought it would be.
Yeah. It's not looking good right now.
He's
It'll be
holding
good
9
maybe
cards.
once No Hands plays the Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, but Muzzy's been trying to like wait for these big turns, but No Hands is kind of just chipping away at him and with medium turns, and Muzzy just keeps playing it slow. I feel like eventually he might just fall behind. There's the Galakron.
Yeah, and actually only needs 1 invocation, so you can play Disciple of Galakron first, and then bump, and then remove the entire board, which looks very clean to me.
Still have a 4/2 left afterwards, and a 1/2.
Thy blood be born.
Actually, it depends. He can actually have more if he wants to hero power first, which he doesn't have to because he has enough hand space here to be able to play Galakron and hero power and not overdraw a card.
Right.
But I feel like he already has enough value in hand that he can afford to just kind of protect this board. If he heals the... Yeah, this actually protects it from the imprisoned Bounty. Actually, even if he didn't heal it, it'd be fine anyway. Just keep the 4/6 on board.
Siamat comes in the hand. That's pretty good, quite frankly. Just to have him play it and then present it as a threat, and then have NoHandsGamer show that he can deal with it.
Yep.
Muzzy foregoing a hero power and rather keep the silence. Interesting. So that silence in the late game, I think maybe Muzzy wants to hold on to it for an opportunity to maybe push through taunts if he anticipates the need to do that.
It could also be just he's holding on to hand space in order for Dragon Queen Alexstrasza to be able to be played when he wants it to. Which silence is just an easy dump. If that's the case.
Fair.
Oh, well, this is the Headmaster Kel'Thuzad plus Shadow Word Ruin
Okay.
play that Muzzy has been waiting for. The problem is he doesn't get the 7-drop, but
I mean, he can
he could preemptively trade, but like
exactly, yeah.
the Siamat comes back if he like hits face with it.
Mm-hmm. Some good tempo that he can generate here, and this might be the opportunity that Muzzy's been very patiently waiting for.
Yeah. That's hard. It actually might be better to just collect the damage from the Siamat and then. Well, I don't know. I mean, honestly, how many 7-drops have less than out of deck? Not that many, but there are still. You could always just silence. What was his That's silent. Exactly this, perhaps?
I think it's just utility, just realizing that it has a lot of high value opportunities in the future for 0 mana. And I mean, that's a really big board, and now No Hands has to pull a trigger on the Plague of Death, but that's where holding the Onyxia actually is pretty good, because now you can Plague of Death and then play Onyxia.
Yeah. And then you have Kronks. Oh!
Actually, yes. Because those 1/1s can get buffed to +2/+2.
Muzzy's face.
This is a lethal setup, actually. This is pretty wild. Muzzy's like, wait, what? How do I deal with this? So you have to Plague of Death again?
And then that whole setup that he went for to try and bait out a Plague of Death and then have a turn of development, because he played it slow, he can't develop behind it.
What if?
Oh. Dragon Queen, Alexstrasza. I mean,
oh my gosh. How many is that this game? 7?
I've lost count. It's just it's so wild to me to think of all the value that this Dragon Queen Alexstrasza is able to generate, just random dragons costing 1. He's gonna Thought Steal. What's he gonna Thought Steal, TJ? TJ is gonna Thought Steal another Kronks.
Oh.
He can play an 8/8 now.
Wow.
And present lethal that way.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy, actually.
Too late.
It is weak to Shadow Word Ruin, but he saw a Shadow Word Ruin. He could just go for... Okay. I was like, he could just go for 5 damage, right? That would be a little too
right,
fancy, right? A little too fancy.
And I like that No Hands played the one that he has naturally from his deck, because he knows that Muzzy can't 100% certain be that Kronks is the one that he was able to get from Thought Steal.
Yeah. It's now Shadow Word Ruin Skeletal Dragon? Alternatively, he could just Shadow Word Ruin and then Kronks himself. That's actually presents more power on the board. It also keeps the Draconic Studies mana discount banked up for Dragon Queen.
And then does Muzzy do it right back?
Yeah, I think so.
I think this might be an opportunity to drop Skeletal Dragon too. It's a little bit of a clunky card, but but then he loses the Draconic Studies buff. Yeah.
Of too late. This return is nigh.
Okay, how big is Lazul Scheme? It's 6. You can actually steal that dragon right now. You can actually layer it 1 level deeper and mind render the 8/8, then play Lazul Scheme, then Cabal Shadow Priest.
Maybe.
I mean, he's mousing over all those cards in sequence, Dan. It's on his mind.
Yeah. He can raise that as well to see if it changes his plays at all.
Okay, reanimated Protodrake and
What?
Pure Scoundrel.
Okay.
Let me
Pure
change
Scoundrel
your
could pick up
mind.
Draconic Studies, which could then pick up a Dragon Queen Alexstrasza.
So the hardest part about all these kind of priest mirrors here is that these combos is just like the person that's holding the cards can totally understand and see what's going to happen, but like when you're on the receiving end, you have no idea what's about to happen, just because there's so much shenanigans.
What if?
Still not going to play the
Okay.
Dragon Queen Alexstrasza.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of a threatening amount of presence onto the board.
Yeah, and he wants to steal this 2/8 back. He doesn't want that huge of a tempo swing. Twilight Drake Siamat. Okay, I mean those are decent. He's got to be careful with which dragons he plays because it could interrupt his planning for some of these future turns.
Right, maybe just hero power, and then...
Yeah. Because it seems like, you know, he has to worry about Mind Render still, so he doesn't want to play too expensive of Dragon Queen Alexstrasza because he doesn't want No Hands to be able to get value from the 1-mana dragons. It's kind of a fine dance. He needs to like have a full turn where he's not being threatened. Amber Watcher is decent. Oh, Murazond. Oh, jeez. So he'd get a Cabal Acolyte, but he wouldn't have any way to proc it. He would also get a Skeletal Dragon. Keep in mind, there's also an 8/8 taunt inside this Mind Flayer that he can always trade in. Can he do anything with Kronks?
You can do 5 damage AoE after trading into the 8/8.
Or do you just play Death? Call it a day.
It might be. It looks like you just are falling a little bit too far behind, but that's exactly what Muzzy wants, right? He wants to see that plague. Okay. Oh, No Hands is like sending the reanimated dragon into the death pool.
Life and hope of will.
Yeah, I mean, it's an 8-mana 8/8. He has one in hand already. I don't know why he'd want another one. They're kind of... Okay!
Malagos?
Big ol' Whelp is not good.
Maybe up... Yeah, Big Web's bad, but like Malagos is interesting to maybe get a big burn spell.
Malagos' Fireball?
I mean, that's so powerful. If he's able to use that in Fatigue Battle. But NoHandsGamer actually has some tempo here. You can Shadow Word Death, Cabal Shadow Priest, and Hero Power. He also could just play Murazond in Shadow Word Death, and he actually has developed a huge board that's threatening lethal.
Yes.
And I think I favor that a little bit more because we're getting to that point where if you put your opponent on a defensive back foot, they're going to be in a situation where they're starting to take fatigue and have to make some really tough decisions.
What if?
Like, it does seem like Muzzy does just have more straight up value in his hand, but I mean, at this point, you're starting to get close to fatigue. I feel like we're past the point of value, and we're to the point of just tempo, like tempo back and forth, turn after turn, and then whoever misses first, like whoever misses the response first, is probably going to lose because however much damage they're going to take, plus however much fatigue damage they're going to start to take. That's just going to be it.
What about?
I'm kind of wondering if we just want to take it a little bit slower still for Muzzy and maybe just develop onto the board here. Siamat is a way to answer the Cabal Shadow Priest. Now you're kind of protective of the life total that you have right now. Another option is to Shadow Madness.
Yeah. I was gonna say like Sethic.
Yeah, but I think he wants to make hand space, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
And going up to 30 gives him a little bit of wiggle room with his life total. Oh my gosh. There was still a natural one in his deck.
Wow.
Who would have known?
Look at us. Look at us, TJ. Who could have known? Not me.
Not me.
Hold on.
Probably
one
not
second.
No Hands either. Even though he's probably using Deck Tracker.
Life and hope are worth fighting for.
Aeon Reaver and Bronze Explorer. But Bronze Explorer gets to discover another dragon, DJ.
Guy and Queen Alexstrasza.
You know what it is, TJ? At this point, I think we've invented a new game. It's a word association game called 6 Degrees from Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. And I'm pretty sure anything that you can do, you can relate it back to that card. And I think that we can use this game as a testament to it.
All right, let's go, Dan.
After this game, TJ. After this game. This is actually kind of the important part of the game. We spent 45 minutes building up to this moment. But I'm convinced that is the case. Muzzy has the Twilight Drake hovered over, and I'm kind of curious why he doesn't want to build up his hand first with the hero power, given that you won't get many chances of the hero power moving forward. And I don't know if I'm happy with the state of his hand right now.
Time is running out.
Merzond.
Wow. Muzzy's like, all right. That's the card I want. Big Daddy Zephyrus comes to the hand. All right, all right. What can we do here? He wants if he plays Zephyrus, you can get Tyrion. You've seen Silence. You haven't seen any minion or spells that's been generated, right? Oh, that Plague of Death is generated. Outside
Plague
of
of Death
Mind
is
Control,
generated.
though, that'd
He
be
also has the
very-
1-mana dragon. I'm pretty sure he's going to go for Natalie Celine here, right?
This is my
Oh, is it Ali Celine? I would like that too.
I mean, I would assume so because Twilight Drake would be really difficult to deal with otherwise.
I feel like Tyrion might have just been the anti-fatigue in terms of like you're trying to pressure your opponent and just deal 15, but Natalie Celine makes a lot of sense too.
out of
Yeah.
cards.
Now Muzzy approaching fatigue, and he knows he's just like I it's hard to go
I've
back
lost track.
because it's been so many turns, but like it felt like he got too greedy with like his big combo things. There was one point in the game where he had a ton of value, a ton of proactive minions in hand, and NoHandsGamer had like nothing. And NoHandsGamer just played his biggest thing every turn, and then Muzzy just had to respect it so much that he never had time to play his big stuff. He had time to play one Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, but then he only played one of the minions from it because the other one's a big old whelp, and he doesn't want to accelerate fatigue.
The future future is clear.
Now he's gonna Madame Lazul.
Rise be near.
Jeez.
I
I mean, those cards. Okay, so Kronks is obviously really good, but now he knows that his opponent has Kronks as the finisher.
You don't pick the one, see?
Oh my gosh, he found Wave of Apathy. And TJ, if he didn't find that, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of damage in the hand from the Kronks and the Apotheosis.
it wouldn't have been dead, but it would have been close.
I mean, you can effectively kill them though, right? Because when you start putting them down to like 5 HP and they're starting to be at fatigue, that's like a situation where Muzzy's at a point of no return. I'm actually wondering if that's still the right play here. No, it's just too much, right? There's too much damage to be missing.
Yeah. Prepared.
Wait a second. Anixia does the same exact thing as he did 7 turns ago.
How about a plagued proto-drake?
You are too late. His return is nigh.
Muzzy's got a plague of death this.
I am out of cards.
Yeah, I like just going face. Who cares about the minions? So he can't use Kronks here to clean up everything with the Natalie Celine. He can go with like a Wave of Apathy to delay Natalie Celine.
What if?
All right, well, Muzzy from this point on has to kind of deal with that board state and has to pull a trigger on this and has no development afterwards. This looks like NoHandsGamer may have put him in a checkmate situation.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what I was thinking about, right? Like, if you do play the Kronk and you do actually end up racking the damage in, now Muzzy has to respond, and then you can develop. And it's a situation where even if Muzzy has every threat checked, No Hands will be developing, Muzzy will be responding, and then Muzzy takes the fatigue damage turn after turn. I don't know how Muzzy wins this game.
Yeah. Because this is not a dead turn of development for No Hands. This is a significant development turn.
Right.
Actually, Muzzy can go. No, he can't. You say like Wave of Dragon Queen Alexstrasza, Wave or Murzond, and then Wave of Apathy.
Yeah.
But then No Hands just Plague of Deaths, and then I guess Muzzy gets initiative.
Right, but I mean, that's assuming No Hands doesn't just play the same thing. Murzon right back.
Oh yeah, because he would also play Wave of Apathy. Yeah, but he doesn't know that that's there.
Sure,
At least
sure.
I don't think so.
If we can map out how things are going to go, if Muzzy chooses Murzon, no Hands Gamer can Murzon right back.
You think this is your time?
If they go even in resources, No Hands also is aware of Kronks being in the hand because he played Thought Steal and saw it, so he knows what's going on. So he can he can always use Kronks to deal the final bits of damage. He also...
There's no Kronks in. Oh, Kronks in Muzzy's hand.
Yeah, he knows about it because of Thought Steal, so he can play Mind Render and use it to deliver like the battle cry damage.
Yeah.
He also could just play Aeon Reaver, I think, but I think I like that play the least. I don't want... So, Muzzy actually wants to... bring this down to the final points of damage, because he has Crocs as a battle cry.
Yeah.
So he wants to actually deal damage, and I think No Hand should do his absolute best to minimize the amount of damage he's taking.
Yep, there it is. Murzon gets a Murzon and gets a wave of apathy. That's enough.
Yeah.
Now Muzzy takes even more fatigue and back to this kind of square one here.
And I think if you're Muzzy, this might be where the rubber meets the road. You gotta see if Dragon Queen Darkstraza can bail you out in the situation. I don't think there's a 7-drop that can come out of his Death Rattle minion to save him in this position.
Yeah, I don't even know what dragon saves him in this position. Like a Deathwing, that aspect that kills both Murzons.
I mean, that's a battle cry.
Like, even Nazari, all it does is he still takes 27 next turn. Because of the 3 fatigue plus the 24 on board.
It's going to be Kronks, and it's going to be the Devout Pupil. He's hoping to maybe pull something out. And that's not going to be it. And NoHandsGamer, I believe, should have this with Apotheosis and Breath of the Infinite, right? Should be able to push through and deal the last bits of damage.
Yeah, or Breath of the Infinite plus Aeon Reaver. Breath of the Infinite, trade one over, Aeon Reaver the other top, push through with both 8/8s. Easy peasy.
Yep, that's going to do it. So, NoHandsGamer going to 2-0 Muzzy and win this Priest Mirror. As yeah, the Aeon Reaver was the only way it looks like to get there. And a grueling 2-game set. NoHandsGamer is going to advance to play ETC in the final match of today.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier, but it's kind of funny. They play this grueling Priest Mirror, and then they get to go up against ETC. He's just playing Malagos Druid and destroying every priest he comes across. So that's your reward, No Hands. Congratulations. Yeah. You get to play against the Malagos Druid, but at least it'll be a change of pace for him. And yeah, that was a tough one. You know, the primary deck, I did think that No Hands, just like overall primary deck was better for the mirror slightly because of more value. But it seemed like NoHandsGamer in both of the games just didn't try and get greedy, just kind of simplified it by trying to always stay one step ahead in tempo. Whether that meant like not accruing as much value as his opponent, he prioritized the tempo first and then acquiring the value second. And that worked out for him in both instances where Muzzy, toward the later part of the game, missed opportunities where he could have really just played some of his big minions and then fell behind. Because No Hands wasn't afraid to just play his stuff, just play his thing. Good on NoHandsGamer for finding a way to piece together value as well after playing for tempo, because sometimes that can be hard. Sometimes you gas out, you play for tempo, and then you gas out. We've seen that before as well. But piece together enough stuff to be able to win the game, even in those tight fatigue moments. So well done.
Yep. That's right. So that'll bring us to the final match of today. We're going to take a few minutes. Obviously, No Hands has all the right to take a little bit of a break. And when we come back, we're going to have the decider match to find out who is joining us on Sunday here for Week 3 of Hearthstone Grandmasters.
Hearthstone Grandmasters is brought to you by T-Mobile. Switch today and rank up to America's largest